In this lesson, we are going to practice writing equations of a line, and it is going to be in the form of y equals mx plus b. Please remember that m is our slope, which is the angle of our line, and b is our y-intercept, where our line crosses the y-axis. The first examples are very easy. We're just putting the numbers where they go in the formula. So y equals m is negative 5, then we put x, and our b is 3, plus 3. In our next example, y equals, first we put our slope, our m, and then x, and then we put our b, which is 0. But you will probably see it only as 1/2 x, because anything plus 0 is simply that number. The next one, we have y equals 2, and then our x, minus 9 as our y-intercept. The next example, y equals, our slope is 0, that goes in front of our x, and then our y-intercept is 6. But 0 times x would be 0, and 0 plus 6 would be 6, so we would write this as y equals 6. The next examples, the first thing we have to do is find our y-intercept. So our b, remember, is exactly where x equals 0. So our b is going to be negative 3. Our slope, remember, is our vertical change. So what's happening? Our y's are going up by 1 over our horizontal change. And our x's are going up by 2. So our slope is 1 over 2. So our equation will be y equals, remember the slope comes in front of the x, and then our y-intercept. In the next example, our table doesn't go far enough, so we need to extend our table to find our 0. And remember, our 0 is our y-intercept, that's going to be 7. Our m is what's happening as the y's go up, that's our vertical change, as our x's go up, which is our horizontal change. So it's going to be 1 over 1, which is 1. So we can write our equation, y equals 1x plus 7, or we can just write it as y equals x plus 7. So the last thing we're going to take care of is how do we find the slope and the y-intercept from the graph. Remember, the y-intercept is where our line crosses the y-axis. That's going to be at negative 1. And then to find our slope, we're going to do our vertical change. Looks like we're going down 1 box and over 1 box. Down is negative 1 over 1, simplified to be negative 1. So our slope is negative 1x minus 1 for our y-intercept. On the next example, our y-intercept is at 2. And then we're going to find our slope. Our vertical change, we're going to go up 2 boxes and over 1 box. So 2 over 1, which is 2. So we have y equals 2x plus 2. In our next example, there is no y-intercept, and our slope is undefined. Our line only crosses the x-axis at negative 4, so it's going to be x equals negative 4. In our next example, our y-intercept is at positive 1, and our slope, we're going down 1 box, so that's negative 1, and over 4 boxes. Negative 1 over 4. So our equation is the slope, negative 1/4 x, plus our y-intercept, which is 1. In our next example, our slope is 0 because we have a horizontal line, and we're crossing the y-axis at 1. So we have y equals 0x plus 1. But remember, 0 times x is 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. So our equation would be y equals 1. in our last example, our y-intercept is at 3. And then this one I couldn't find where it was crossing, so I'm going to start right down here. And I'm going to go all the way up and over to find my slope. I went up 8 boxes and over 5 boxes. So y equals 8 over 5x plus 3, and that would be the equation of my line.